Hello everyone, this video will assist you in understanding the differences between renewable and non-renewable resources. To begin, let us define renewable and non-renewable. Renewable energy is energy derived from natural sources that are at a higher rate than they are consumed. Sunlight and wind, for example, are such sources that are constantly being. Renewable energy sources are plentiful and all around us. A non-renewable resource is a natural resource that cannot be readily replaced by natural means at a pace quick enough to keep with consumption. There are four major types of non-renewable resources. It includes oil, natural gas, coal, and nuclear energy.
Have you gained a better understanding of renewable and non-renewable resources? Let's continue to talk about their examples and discover its benefits and drawbacks. The sunlight. Sunlight is a renewable resource and its most direct use is achieved by capturing the sun's energy. Why is sunlight renewable? Sunlight is a renewable resource because it is continuously renewed during human lifetimes. It is true that eventually, the hydrogen that feeds the nuclear fusion reactions in the sun will run out, but that will not occur for another 5 billion years or so, which is far beyond the human capacity for planning. When the sun shines onto a solar panel, energy from the sunlight is absorbed by PV cells in the panel. This energy creates electrical charges that move in response to an internal electrical field in the cell, causing electricity to flow. What benefits would sunlight have as a renewable resource then? This type of renewable energy sources will not run out. As it comes from the name, a renewable energy source is sustainable, meaning that it will not run out soon. For example, the sun is expected to shine every morning for at least 4.5 to 5.5 billion years to come, so we can consider it as a renewable source of energy. This might be the most important difference between the renewable and fossil fuels. The second one to these benefits is that this renewable energy is environmentally friendly. Sunlight is a natural way of energy generation and therefore can be considered clean. Solar energy is clean. It creates no carbon emissions or other heat-trapping greenhouse gases. It avoids the environmental damage associated with mining or drilling for fossil fuels. When you compare them with fossil fuels, the difference is significant. Therefore, catastrophic environmental issues like global warming, climate change, and low air quality can be omitted if we go for renewable energy. The last one is that everywhere gets sunlight. It might seem trivial, but the fact that every single area of the earth gets sunlight to a greater or lesser extent offers a twofold advantage. First and foremost, sunlight is an energy source that can be used anywhere on the planet and even gets to places with no infrastructure or connections. Let's now examine solar power's negative side. Let's discuss the drawbacks of using sunlight as a source of energy. The first thing is that the energy will be limited because of the weather. They won't produce electricity at night when you need it for light, and they can be inefficient during storms and gloomy days. Your solar energy systems needs batteries if you plan to fully depend on solar energy to power your home. Now that we have studied the pros and cons of sunlight as a renewable resources, let's talk about the nuclear energy as an example of non-renewable resource. Nuclear energy is the energy in the nucleus or core of an atom. Atoms are tiny units that make up all the matter in the universe, and energy is what holds the nucleus together. There is a huge amount of energy in atoms' dense nucleus. Nuclear is a zero-emission clean energy source. It generates power through fission, which is the process of splitting uranium atoms to produce energy. The heat released by fission is used to create steam that spins in turbine to generate electricity without the harmful products emitted by fossil fuels. Here are the three advantages of nuclear energy. The first one is the carbon-free electricity. While traditional fossil fuels generation sources pump massive amounts of carbon dioxide, the primary cause of climate change, into the atmosphere, nuclear energy plants do not produce carbon dioxide or any air pollution during operation. That's not to say that they don't pollute at all. Though the process of mining, refining, and preparing uranium uses energy, the nuclear waste possess completely separate environmental problem. Let's move on to the next advantage, The high power output. Nuclear power plants produce high levels of energy compared to the most power sources, especially renewables, which makes them a great provider of baseload electricity. The last thing on the list of advantages is the reliable energy source. Lastly, nuclear energy is a reliable renewable energy source based on its constant production and accessibility. Nuclear power plants produce at their maximum power output more often, 93% of the time, than any other energy source. And because of this round-the-clock stability, this makes nuclear energy an ideal source of reliable baseload electricity for the grid. After these advantages, let's move forward on talking what are the drawbacks of this power source. Here are the disadvantages of nuclear energy. The first one is that uranium is a non-renewable. Although nuclear energy is a clean source of power, it is technically not renewable. The longer we rely on nuclear power and uranium ore in particular, the more depleted the Earth's uranium resource will become. The last one is that the malfunction can be catastrophic. A nuclear meltdown occurs when heat created by nuclear reactors exceed the amount of heating being transferred out by cooling systems. This causes the system to exceed its melting point. If this happens, hot radioactive vapors can escape, which can cause nuclear plants to fully melt down and combust, while also releasing harmful radioactive materials into the environment. Do you now have a deeper thought about renewable and non-renewable resources and to its examples? Thank you for listening to this discussion. This video is produced by Jazmine Estopare and Erin Scarlet Niere of grade 12 Humss-G in Electron College.